Welcome to another World of Tanks Debriefings. I'm Darqueling, your host, and this episode is brought to us by Killbas808, driving the Tiger 2 here. He's one of the top tiers, and he's fighting against some pretty hefty opponents, from T-34s and 2s to ISs and KV-5s and another Tiger 2, amongst a few other random assortments of things here. Only one piece of artillery per side. His teammate, or his platoon mate rather, is in a T-28 prototype. So let's go ahead and get to this battle on Campanova here. And wow, first off, he's playing Assault on Campanova. This is a rarity that I've actually seen Assault. I mean, I personally have taken it out of my rotation. I didn't end up liking the Assault and Defense. I do like the Encounter though, because that's a personal favorite. But hey, good to see people are still playing this game type. I didn't think anyone was, and so that's pretty awesome that he's doing it. It's going to really change my style of commenting here, as I'm not very familiar anymore with the strategies, other than I know that you more or less have to push, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. So, looks like his buddy in the T-28 prototype started in the center over here and is making his way over to the, I would imagine this is the east with him, and so that's what they're going to do, is try and crawl up the east side through the trees over here instead of going to the west where the church is. And of course the church is a little bit better of a covered position, but you can't really be choosy. You have to go where the enemy is and hope for the best, because otherwise one flank will get rolled and there's nothing you can do. Now with only one artillery piece, I wouldn't be overly concerned about anything. And now he actually does have a nice Tiger in his view sight, but it looks like that hit was a friendly, not his. So good shot, but sadly no damage on that hit. Must have either went through the gun, the mantlet, or just a no damage crit as usual. So that Tiger got lit up pretty early, pretty easily, and if he's not dead, I'll be surprised. He isn't, so he's down to probably 300 hit points. This KV-5 over here is facing the side, so the Tiger 2 is able to sneak in a nice little shot there. If he can reload in time, he might be able to get the little R2-D2, but he disappeared. Now, he might want to get into cover, because at this point, he's spotted, so a lot of people know where he is and where he's coming. Now, the artillery's not going to do a whole heck of a lot to him, but still, last thing you want to do is sit in the open and be exposed the whole time and let people know where you are. And that M5 over there in the back is running to try and find their artillery, so you kind of want to finish that thing off before he does. Fired that one a little too early, I believe. The Tiger on the other side finally got finished off, not much there. So he's going to have to crawl up this hill again. The M5 is still hiding somewhere in the back. He's going to be completely untouched until he gets spotted again, in which time it's probably going to be too late for the artillery piece. Yep, but luckily a lot of tanks are right here. Hopefully they can take him out before they get that artillery piece, because otherwise, yep, they're able to get him. His platoon mate, in fact, was able to take him out before the artillery got hit. Now, it is a bad bit of spotting that happened, but can't really help it too much. Now the Panther 2's raining in shots from down above, and getting tracked right there was not very good. He's really put himself up in a bad area, and the Tiger 2 does have a pretty decent area where he's just taking bounce shots, because not a lot in this area is going to be able to pin him, at least for the most part. So long as he keeps that lower glacial plate hidden, he should be relatively alright, minus some high pin weapons, or if he exposes the side of his turret or anything, where they get a lucky shot coming in through the commander hatches. So it looks like they had one or two shots come in on the top of him. Instead, he also was able to severely damage their Dicker Max, and it looks like he's pushing up. That Panther's probably not going to do too much without being able to hit that lower glacial plate. And the IS-3 is the major threat, something you'll need to definitely watch out for, but he's looking the other direction at the moment. So there's a bunch of things all tied up over there. He might have back shots to that KV-5, which is something he should probably... There we go. I was going to say, you might want to focus fire on the KV-5. Definitely aiming at the R2-D2 over there would have made a huge difference. And of course, for those of you who don't know what the R2-D2 is, it actually is that little hatch right there with the machine gun. There we go. Now he's properly aiming at it. Easily able to penetrate it. Anything above a tier 5, potentially a tier 6, can penetrate that little hatch, no problem. And I believe he actually could have shot through those wood piles, and it might have been able to give him a little bit better of a hold down position, but he didn't need to in the end. It was able to take care of it without much issue. Now, side shooting this IS-3 is almost essential, because that thing's a huge threat, and he's obviously seeing that and taking care of that thing first. He hits it, no damage, can't help that, it is what it is. He's cutting off his IS-3 by accident, and he does recognize that there are some threats up on top of the hill that are probably repositioning at the moment. So, with that IS-3 down, he definitely needs to crest this hill, or at least get up there, start getting some spots, seeing what's going on. His buddy in the 28's certainly wrecking, but at the moment, he's pushing up like he should. Not a whole heck of a lot has really presented it to him. He's done as much damage as he can. 1,600 so far is not a bad sum for this tier. And of course, things are slowly starting to present themselves here. That 1S, major threat, so being able to hit it like that, certainly a great thing. And then, of course, the IS-3 next to him, finishing him off. A 1-2 nice little punch there. Between the two of them, probably doing upwards of 800 damage. Certainly is a needed little combination. So with those two working in tandem, they're easily going to get behind the flanks of these tanks. They're having to now look at these tanks as opposed to things that are coming up the hill from behind them. He's got to watch out for the Tiger in front of him, though. That's a major threat that he's taking hits from that he shouldn't have to. The little priest isn't going to do too much. That IS-3 shouldn't have focused on him. He should have went for the Tiger 2 instead, because instead he took a major hit from him. I don't know if you're going to be able to penetrate the front of a Tiger 2 with a Tiger 2, unless you're aiming at the lower plate. Luckily, they're spotting it so that the grill can come in and nail it, with any luck at least. So I saw the shot coming up and over. He's got to be probably talking to his buddy, the T-28. So the grill didn't do too much to the Tiger 2, 100 something, but the IS does quite a hefty bit of damage, 400 in addition. Now the Tiger is able to come up here, take some shots. But shooting the turret of the 32 is not going to do anything unless you're hitting the hatch on top and you're getting lucky with it. Now the IS-3 died unnecessarily. I don't think he should have crested the hill like he did. That's my personal opinion. But, oh no, it was a different IS. Or, oh, it was a KV-1S. Okay, never mind then. That was nothing that he could have controlled. It's a KV-1S. He is fragile. He needed to get up there and start shooting, but he can't help that everything up there is probably going to hurt. So, a very low roll there in terms of damage, only 250. He does sit down that T-32 though, and that T-32 is effectively out of the fight. Yep, 2 hits and he was dead. Now it's the Tiger 2 and the KV, the IS-3 rather. Now it's a choice of which one would you rather shoot. I'd rather go for the Tiger 2, I guess. He's an easier penetration at the moment, and they both hurt equally as much. It's just the Tiger is easier to target and hit and penetrate. The IS though, oof, making a little bit of an error there, cresting the hill. He should have waited because they were all looking at him. Looks like they're gonna finish it off though. He was able to get 1 kill. I don't think I would have came up the hill like that. My own personal opinion. We'll have to go take a look at his screenshots here in just a bit when he wraps up. But it looks as though there's just these 3 up on top of the hill. Not a whole heck of a lot left. The T-34 sliding down the hill to his death. The IS-3 and Tiger 1 both almost dead. Looks like they're going to get finished off if anyone can land a hit on either of those targets. And then the T-34 down there kind of hurting, waiting to get him finished off. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. That IS-3 should be dead any minute now. Come on. Ooh, the 34 killed the T-20, as expected, I guess. It was a T-20 going face hugging the IS or the T-34. But there we go. The T-28 finishes off that tank. One more shot into that the T-34 and he'll be dead as well. So with that, that's going to pretty much wrap up this one. My only comment is I wouldn't have crested that hill like that. I think that you did take a few unnecessary risks up at the top. We'll definitely look at the stats there at the end, but I think you did hit quite a bit of people and did a lot of damage. So let's take a look at those screen caps and see what else we can comment. Just by observing the game, we'd think that Killbas808 really didn't have that much of a good game, but in the end, he really did, earning about 60,000 credits and close to 3,500 experience. That's actually an excellent game. He ended up getting Confederate here, and as we can see, as we flip between the first of the personal scores and the second personal scores, he hit quite a few different targets, with others taking the kills, or he was assisting others, as you might want to look at it. But in addition, he also got a lot of spotting and a lot of spotting damage, spotting 4 different targets and having spotting damage on, what was that? We have 1, 2 from the top screen that he didn't touch, and then another 1, 2 tanks from the second screen where he didn't touch those tanks either. But every other tank that he got spotting damage on, he did damage to as well. So he actually contributed a significant amount. While he might have made that slight mistake up top by exposing himself a little too early and getting himself killed, he still contributed significantly, doing a lot of damage. Let's take a look at his team score and we'll see that, as you can see here, he actually scored in the top experience, outperforming even his buddy, or his platoon mate, who had 3 kills, the IS below him, which had 3 kills as well, and another medal. So, as you can see, he performed significantly better than we'd be led to believe just by looking at the exact performance of the tank. And so, flipping from team score to detailed report here, we see that he did 3,176 damage, taking 19 hits. So had he survived, he would have gotten steel wall. But in addition, he hit a good shot 17, hitting a good 13, with 11 of them being damaging hits, and he even detected 2,000. So all in all, he did over 5,000 damage between himself and the spotting damage that he did. So that's actually a pretty significantly important game. He did a great job there with what he did. So let that go to show you that just because you don't have any kills on your screen, or you only have 1, doesn't mean you didn't contribute and didn't do a lot for your team. So just because someone doesn't show up with any kills on their next to their name didn't mean they didn't do a lot. That's impressive for a game where, just by the looks of it, it wasn't. And to do that much damage is a lot. Again, he made a few critical errors, which by and large they were mostly just exposing too early and taking too many unnecessary shots. But had he waited for a little bit of backup, he could have crossed that hill no problem and probably survived. But hasty decisions happen in battle. Not a bad game when you look at the stats, though. You gotta agree with that. So while it might not be the best game that he ever had, and it may not be a good game by a lot of people's standards, just looking at the gameplay itself, looking at the stats is a whole different story. So don't let that ever go to make you judge somebody's game performance, unless you take a look at the stats and see how they contributed and what they performed and what they even did in the battle itself. So hey, this guy actually did a great job. So thank you for sending this one in. Again, I was surprised by the footage. Just looking at it, it was kind of blah, but when you look at the stats, it was like, wow, that's actually, he performed pretty well. So again, thank you for sending this in, Killbas808, and everyone else, if you want to send them in to darqueling@gmail.com, I will review those that I can. Thank you very much, and I will catch you guys in the next debriefing.